revealed. The miraculous sacred path of the alone 7 divine insights into heavenly solitude. The sweet yet sorrowful light of evening spilled through the stained glass windows of the village chapel, casting a rainbow of colors onto the wooden pews. Thomas, a devoted parishioner whose faith had once seemed unshakable, now knelt alone. His heart bore a heaviness since his mother's passing. "Lord, guide me," he whispered, feeling adrift in a world that now felt strangely distant. With every ray of colored light, doubt crept in, whispering questions about divine plans and purpose. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. The chapel was filled with a golden glow that enveloped Thomas like a warm embrace. Tears streamed down his face as he found himself bathed in this celestial light. A presence gentle, yet commanding filled the air, whispering secrets of the universe into his receptive heart. In that sacred moment of solitude, he began to receive mystical insights, shimmering like stars in the night sky. The miraculous sacred path of the alone echoed in his mind, as if the heavens had opened up on that very spot. "Seek solitude," the voice continued, and with each of the 7 insights, Thomas felt an exhilarating flicker of hope surge within him. In solitude, find strength in stillness. Discover peace, let your heart breathe the whispers of the divine. Each insight sparkled in his soul, illuminating the once bleak corners of his grief. The weight of his loneliness began to lift, replaced by a divine purpose that shimmered like gold as he rose to his feet, ready to embrace this new calling. A pang of dread struck deep, fearing rejection from the very community he adored. Friends and family warned him against isolating himself. They spoke of the strength of unity they had always prided themselves in. Yet, Thomas sensed a longing, a divine whisper that urged him to step away, to embrace this heavenly solitude. He fought internally, caught between love for his community and the allure of his newfound truth. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With a heavy heart, Thomas decided to attend the village service, hoping to share the gifts he had received. Yet, as he spoke, he saw eyes glaze over and whispers exchanged behind closed lips. "You've changed, Thomas," they murmured, as if the truth had become a burden to bear. His heart sank, loneliness crashing over him like an unforgiving tide. In this moment, he understood the essence of his path lay not in others' acceptance, but in his own faith. Just then, as he dared to speak of the power of solitude, a magnificent light erupted in the chapel. The golden glow returned, seeping through the cracks of doubt and fear, enveloping the congregation in a celestial embrace. Gasps erupted across the pews as the warmth of divine love washed over them all. Eyes widened, hearts quickened. Thomas stood, awestruck and trembling, feeling the pulse of something far beyond his understanding. Was this a sign? A confirmation of his solitary quest? Or merely the beginning of a broader revelation yet to come? As the radiant light danced through the chapel, Thomas felt the fear fall away like autumn leaves rendered helpless by a gentle wind. The faces around him transformed from skepticism to wonder. In that moment, Thomas witnessed the genuine stirrings of their hearts, ignited by the divine presence that enveloped them all. The whispers ceased, replaced by the soft rustle of hope and inspiration. Perhaps, he thought, this is what solitude means. When the heart stands firm, the light can reach others. Each shimmer of the golden glow seemed to whisper deeper truths into the minds of his fellow parishioners. Their faces, previously burdened with doubt, began to glisten with possibility. It wasn't about him, it was about the shared revelation of faith. "Let the light guide you," he found himself saying, his voice steadier now. "In our quiet places, we can hear God's voice. We can transform our pain into a testament of strength." Thomas took a step forward, feeling an urgency rise within him. He had to share the wisdom he had received. Slowly, one by one, The villagers straightened in their pews. A father squeezed his son's shoulder. A woman clasped her hands tighter, as if holding onto faith itself. Those who once thought of Thomas as a stranger felt their hearts opening, like flowers blooming under the first rays of spring. Believe in the solitude, he urged, for in it we can discover ourselves anew. The atmosphere thickened with expectancy, as though the very air was pregnant with divine promise. Was the golden glow they shared a prelude to something profound, something that might reveal their own paths? He glanced around, catching the eye of an elder from the congregation. Her face, lined with years of wisdom and heartache, held a steadiness that resonated with his own stirring hope. "Thomas, dear," she said, her voice carrying an ethereal quality, "your journey is an anchor for us all. But how do we truly embrace the solitude you found? How do we cultivate this space to hear the whispers of the divine?" His heart leapt. That was the question he had searched for. A bridge connecting his discovery with the community's longing. "It begins with trust," he replied, fervently. "Trust that even amidst our struggles, God is there, waiting for us in our silence." He could feel the weight of expectations lifting from their shoulders. The golden light ignited a spark of unity, a commitment to each other, to seek depth within themselves while simultaneously nurturing the bonds that tied them together as a church family. As the service progressed, Thomas witnessed a change. The atmosphere became electric, every prayer and hymn resonating with a newfound depth. The stigma of loneliness melted like ice in the warmth of shared experiences. But as the final words of the service hung gently in the air, Thomas felt the urge to retreat once more until he sensed the pull of something greater. Would he really lead others down the path of solitude while standing at the boundary of acceptance? "Lord," he whispered inwardly, "show us the way." He felt a weight on his heart and an anticipation flutter through his spirit. This moment was not an end, but a beginning, a call to embark on a journey that would reveal more divine secrets. What awaited him just beyond the sanctuary walls? Would he dare to tread deeper into solitude, or would he embrace his community with this newfound conviction? Perhaps the divine plan was yet to be unveiled. Outside the chapel doors, the air buzzed with a palpable sense of change. Thomas stepped into the evening light, the gentle glow still warming his heart. It felt as if the sun itself had witnessed their gathering, reflecting the joy that blossomed in his chest. The villagers, in small clusters, spoke softly among themselves, their faces brightened by hope. "Thomas," called out a young woman, her eyes sparkling, "you changed everything today." He felt warmth wash over him at her words. "No," he replied, shaking his head gently. "We changed everything together." As they mingled, he caught snippets of conversations, stories of doubts turned to resolutions, fears transformed into prayers. The light he had seen earlier flickered not just within him but ignited in others. Hope, once a fleeting shadow, now danced visibly in their eyes. Yet, as the sun dipped lower, Thomas sensed a pull in his spirit, urging him toward solitude again. The weight of expectation began to settle. Would they understand if he sought clarity alone? Would they be disheartened by his absence? He paused, feeling torn between being their guide and honoring his journey inward. Just then, the congregation's laughter broke through his thoughts, a beautiful symphony of shared joy. Thomas turned back toward them, feeling the magnetic connection of community, their warmth inviting him into its embrace. Faith, after all, he pondered aloud, is both a solitary act and a communal journey. With the sun kissing the horizon, he felt a tugging at his heart. What insights awaited him in those quiet moments of reflection when the world fell silent? Taking a deep breath, he made his way to a familiar grove outside the village, a place he often came to listen and learn. The trees stood sentinel, their branches like arms raised in worship. He settled beneath a sturdy oak, grounding himself in the cool earth. "Lord," he whispered, "guide my thoughts. I seek your wisdom." As the last rays of sun slipped away, darkness enveloped him, yet he felt an unfamiliar comfort in the quiet. The stillness wrapped around him like a sacred cloak. It was in these shadows that revelatory moments often unfolded. The whisper of divine assurance, the gentle reminders of love and grace. And then, as if the air itself held secrets, he felt a stirring in his soul. Memories of pain, loss, and solitude began to unfurl before him. Each one was a thread woven into the tapestry of his journey. In the silence, he faced them not with fear, but with acceptance. Every moment, he realized, is a part of my sacred path. Each loss, every trial, gifted him moments to grow, to understand. As he embraced the lesson, a glimmer of light flickered through the leaves overhead. It felt like a gentle embrace from above. Thomas closed his eyes, surrendering into the moment. But then, a voice shattered the serenity. "Thomas!" It was the elder from the chapel, her presence suddenly filling the grove. "Is it time yet?" she asked with a knowing smile. "Time to share what you've discovered in this sacred solitude?" His heart raced. Had he truly unearthed insight worthy of sharing? "Not yet," he murmured, but he could feel a stirring deep inside that this journey would reveal more than he ever imagined. As the darkness deepened, the sparks of the stars emerged as bright reminders of goddess promises, illuminating the path forward. What awaited him in this dance of shadows and light? The journey of discovery had only just begun. The night air was crisp, and the stars shimmered like fragments of hope scattered across the heavens. Thomas sat beneath the ancient oak, feeling the gentle breeze caress his skin, as if it were carrying messages from the divine. In stillness, he wondered what those messages were, what his heart truly sought in this sacred solitude. He pondered deeply, the weight of expectation gradually lifting. What if, he thought, my understanding of faith has only just begun to blossom? The connection between the solitary and the communal echoed through his mind, each thought resonating like a soft bell ringing in the distance. Not far from him, the congregation's voices wove together in a distant hymn. It was a melody of praise, rich with faith and love, wrapping the village in a divine embrace. Though physically separated, he felt intertwined with them, each note a reminder of their shared journey, their collective spirit. "Lord," he breathed out again, "show me what it means to walk this path." In his heart, he sensed an ineffable stirring. Was it clarity, or perhaps a deeper truth just beyond his reach? Suddenly, a vision flickered in his mind, vibrant and alive. He saw his fellow villagers with arms raised, faces radiant under the grace of heaven. As a cascade of light fell upon them, they were united in prayer, all doubts dissolving like mist. This sight elated him, sparking new conviction. "Faith is a journey," he murmured, "but journeys often begin alone." This revelation filled him with purpose. There were insights to be gleaned in the depths of solitude, lessons that could shape not only his path but also the paths of those around him. The chilling night air betrayed none of his fervent thoughts, yet within his soul dwelled a warmth bright enough to dispel shadows. "I must be brave," he affirmed. "I must forge ahead." At that moment, Thomas realized that while he sought wisdom in stillness, he also carried the duty of sharing those revelations. The elder had asked him, and perhaps she saw in him something sacred, a voice that could connect the whispers of God to the hearts of the congregation. But ongoing contemplation raised questions. Was he prepared? Did he fully understand the lessons he was meant to convey? What if he misinterpreted what God wanted to communicate? The night deepened as he wrestled with these uncertainties, yet each moment felt saturated with divine purpose. As the branches swayed overhead, a burst of starlight illuminated the grove in a silvery glow, and Thomas could almost hear a whisper in the wind calling out, "Trust." The world around him began to fade, leaving only that one sacred word. He stood, heart racing as he embraced the call of the unknown. "I will share my journey," he declared into the vastness, feeling the weight of the moment settle around him. "But first I must listen deeper." With a determined heart, Thomas turned toward the village, where sweet prayer melodies beckoned him home. What awaited him as he stepped back into that light? How would his own faith be transformed as he shared the insights gifted to him in solitude? A profound silence lingered in the air, poised to welcome a revelation that would ripple through the hearts of many. As Thomas approached the village, the familiar voices of his community swelled around him, carrying an electric anticipation. Each note fluttered like wings, igniting sparks of warmth and belonging. Yet, as he crossed the threshold from his quiet grove to the lively streets, the weight of his newfound revelation settled heavier on his heart. Would sharing his insights bridge his solitude with their collective faith? He could feel the prayerful energy wrapping around him like a well-worn shawl, yet doubt still whispered in the corners of his mind. What if his understanding was clouded? What if he misled them instead of guiding them? He took a steadying breath, feeling the coolness of the evening air swirl in his lungs, blending with the warmth of their love. Stepping into the heart of the village, he saw the flickering glow of lanterns, each one a beacon of hope, illuminating faces marked by sincere devotion. Children laughed, their innocent joy a melody of faith in itself, while elders exchanged knowing glances. There was something sacred in their gathering, the kind that reminded him of the vision he had witnessed in the grove, at the center of this vibrant tapestry. The elder stood, her presence commanding but warm. She caught sight of him, her eyes twinkling like stars, and she smiled, beckoning him forward. "Thomas," she called, her voice carrying effortlessly through the throng. "Come share with us." His heart quickened with purpose. Here it was the moment to reveal his journey. Uncertainty gave way to a stirring confidence. He stepped forward, and the crowd quieted, drawn together by a hushed reverence. "Dear friends," he began, letting his voice rise with courage, "I have wandered through the stillness of the night, seeking answers and clarity. In solitude, I discovered that faith is a bridge we build with each other. It begins alone but flourishes in community." The words felt right, resonating deep within him just as they echoed through the crowd. Faces turned toward him, some with eyes wide, others nodding knowingly. He shared the vision of unity he had seen, the radiant faces bathed in divine light, arms lifted in prayer. As he spoke, an inexplicable peace enveloped him. He was no longer just Thomas, the solitary seeker. He was part of something larger, something beautiful, a divine tapestry woven by faith and love. "I realized," he continued, "that our journeys may start in solitude, but we are not truly alone. Each moment of quiet reflection helps us understand our purpose, our paths, and prepares us to guide one another." He searched the faces before him, catching glimpses of connection as murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. There were nods, glimmers of understanding hearts responding to the call of faith. In the growing stillness, hearts began to open, and the elder reached for Thomas's hand. The warmth of her grasp sent a bolt of energy through him, a reminder that he was not only a messenger but also a companion on this journey of faith. "Let us pray together," she urged, her voice gentle yet powerful. And, as they bowed their heads, a profound hush fell over them. The night wrapped around their collective prayer, a sacred bond spinning threads of hope and love that stretched beyond even their comprehension. In that moment, Thomas understood the essence of true faith. It flowed both outward and inward, drawing strength from solitude and communal connection alike. As the prayer rose like smoke into the still night, he felt a shift, a divine stirring that hinted at something profound yet to come. What heavenly mysteries waited just beyond this moment, where faith mingled with hope? What transformation lay at the edge of their bonds that would deepen their journey together? As the prayer floated up into the velvet of night, Thomas felt a heaviness lift, replaced by a lighter spirit. It was as if an unseen hand had touched his heart, filling it with warmth and a renewed sense of mission. The air vibrated with expectancy, igniting hope and love within everyone present. When the elder finally released Thomas's hand, her wise gaze lingered on him. "You speak of visions and unity," she said softly, "but it is the action that follows that truly tests our faith." Her words struck a chord within Thomas. He realized that merely sharing his visions was just the beginning. There was a call to act, to guide those around him, to ensure that the insights gained in solitude were woven into the daily lives of the community. He looked around and saw hopeful eyes, eager for direction. "We must not only dream but also build," he announced, his voice steady and clear. "Each one of us holds a piece of the divine. We can nourish our individual insights by sharing them, growing together. Let us forge pathways of love that reflect our faith." The crowd stirred with excitement, some exchanging glances while others grasped each other's hands tighter. A ripple of enthusiasm spread forth, and in that moment, he could feel the divine energy pulsating among them like a heartbeat. A child's voice rang out amidst the gathering. "What can we do, Thomas?" Her wide eyes radiated innocence and hope. "We begin with kindness," Thomas replied, his heart swelling. "Every act of love and service we extend allows us to understand one another deeply, revealing the face of God in one another. Let us share our talents, our time. Let us gather to pray, to learn, and to uplift those who may falter." The village buzzed with life. Conversations blossomed like flowers reaching for the sun. A skilled carpenter offered to teach woodworking, while a gentle farmer promised to share his knowledge of tending to gardens. Mothers and fathers exchanged plans to establish regular community meals, singing faith-filled songs and prayers at their tables. One man stepped forward, his brow lined with years of wisdom. "What if we invite others from nearby towns?" he suggested, enthusiasm brightening his voice. "We can take this light beyond our village." Thomas's heart leaped at the thought. Absolutely. Imagine our collective joy, all sharing love, hope, and inspiration. This could be the start of something divine, opening doors to others who might feel alone, just as I once did. The elder raised her hands, her expression one of joy. "Let us bless this vision. Let us pray for guidance and strength as we step forth united in faith." They bowed their heads once more, and Thomas felt electricity in the air, as if the very heavens rejoiced with them. In that moment, he caught a glimpse of the profound rhythm of their sacred journey, a symphony of souls walking together toward a horizon brimmed with possibility. As they opened their eyes, Thomas could sense that something remarkable was at hand. The warmth of the connections they'd forged wrapped around him, a shield against doubt and fear. Yet, just as hope surged within him, a fleeting shadow passed through his mind. What challenges would emerge as they shared their light? Would their love be strong enough to withstand the trials ahead? He looked around at the faces of his friends, kindred spirits woven into his journey, and knew that their collective strength could indeed shine brightly into the depths of darkness. But, as they prepared to stand, a curious stirring seemed to whisper through the atmosphere. What would the first step toward their united vision reveal? What unexpected journey awaited them just beyond this moment of connection? The sun rose softly the next morning, casting its golden rays across the village, as if the heavens were painting a blessing on the earth below. Thomas awoke with a sense of anticipation, the image of the gathering from the night before still vivid in his mind. There was a great work to be done, a divine orchestration awaiting their first notes of harmony. He felt a pull in his spirit, as if a path was being illuminated for him to follow. After a simple breakfast, he gathered a few close friends near the old oak tree at the village center. The tree stood tall and strong, its branches reaching out like comforting arms. It was here that the first seeds of their newfound mission would take root. Thomas looked into the faces of his companions. They wore expressions of eagerness, a mix of wonder and trepidation. "Today marks the start of our journey," he said, warmth swelling in his chest. "We must reach out to others. Let our village shine so brightly that those in darkness are drawn to our light. We will share our talents and our hope." As they began sharing ideas, the child from the gathering the night before, with her innocent curiosity, nudged Thomas. "What if we share stories? Stories of love and bravery. Maybe it will encourage others." Her suggestion filled the air with excitement. Thomas nodded, recognizing the power of their experiences. Stories could bind hearts together, reigniting faith where it flickered low. "Yes, let us create a circle of storytelling. We will invite everyone, our neighbors, the lonely, those who are burdened." One by one, others joined in, throwing forth their ideas like seeds. A woman with silver hair spoke of music. "I can gather some of the young ones and teach them songs of praise," she offered, her voice trembling with passion. An elderly man added, "We shall organize community gardens, allowing every hand to sow and reap, feeding both body and soul." The collective energy grew, like flames licking higher and higher, fueled by their dreams. Together, they committed to a time frame, marking the days leading to their first gathering to share talents and stories. Yet, as the plans took shape, Thomas couldn't shake the whisper of uncertainty that lingered at the edge of his mind. What if others resisted? What if those outside their circle brought doubt? Each possibility left traces of fear in his heart. As he walked home that afternoon, the sun warming his back, Thomas turned his thoughts to prayer. God's presence enveloped him, grounding his worries. He felt a wave of peace wash over him, lifting the heaviness of doubt. Lord, he whispered, let this be your work. Let us through each challenge. His heart swelled with gratitude as something shifted within him. It was reassurance from the Holy Spirit. As he approached his cottage, he saw a neighbor, a woman with weary eyes, standing in her garden. She looked up and greeted him with a feeble smile. Instinctively, Thomas felt a pull to reach out. May I help you? He asked, stepping forward with genuine desire. The woman hesitated but then nodded, tears sparking in her eyes. I could use a friend today, she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. In that moment, Thomas realized that each effort, no matter how small, mattered. Acts of kindness could lead to deeper connections, revealing light in places of despair. They shared a simple conversation, warmth blooming between them, weaving a thread of unity. When he finished, Thomas walked away with a renewed spirit. It dawned on him that this very connection, one heart to another, was the beginning of their great mission. Yet as he reached his doorstep, a fleeting thought flickered. Was this mere coincidence? Or was it a divine appointment leading him to deeper truths? Drawing a breath, Thomas looked out towards the horizon. What would tomorrow bring? What new paths awaited as they stepped out united in faith? And how many lives might they touch? The unfolding story was far from over. As dawn broke the next day, the village stirred with a gentle hum of activity. Each household began to wake, and the air was filled with the soft calls of morning birds. Thomas stepped outside, taking in the fresh scent of dew on grass. He felt a renewed sense of purpose, each step carrying the weight of expectation and hope. He made his way back to the old oak tree, where they had gathered the day before. Today, the first real meeting of their storytelling circle was set to begin. As he arrived, he found friends already assembling, their faces glowing with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. They exchanged warm smiles and heartfelt greetings, drawing strength from one another. Let us start with a prayer, Thomas suggested, sensing the Holy Spirit's call urging them onward. They formed a circle beneath the mighty oak, hands clasped, and bowed their heads. Thomas offered a simple prayer, asking for guidance and openness as they shared their stories. The presence of God seemed to wrap around them, a comforting cloak amidst their fragile resolve. As they finished praying, an elderly woman stepped forward, her silver hair shimmering in the sunlight. I have a story, she said, her voice quivering like autumn leaves in the wind. It's about the time I felt utterly alone, and how God brought me comfort through the smallest of things. Thomas watched in awe as she shared her journey, how a simple flower growing through a crack in her driveway had reminded her of God's faithfulness. Her words ignited a quiet fire in their hearts. Others began to share, each story weaving a tapestry of shared experiences, touching on sorrow, joy, and the unwavering light of faith. Next was the child who had suggested stories the day before. Her innocence breathed life into her account of a lost puppy that had wandered into her yard. It was like God sent him to help me see that love is everywhere, even in the scariest of times, she said, her eyes bright with wonder as laughter and tears mingled together. A warm breeze rustled through the branches above them, as if the oak was joining in their gathering. Thomas felt the sweet presence of God heavy in the air, and a thrill ran through him. In that moment, he understood the power of connection. However, just as the energy seemed to reach its peak, a shadow passed over Thomas's heart. He thought of those who had not come, neighbors who were consumed with their own struggles. What would happen to their mission if they could not reach those hearts too? Then a man spoke up, his voice steady and strong. We can't stop here, he said, his eyes piercing through Thomas's worries. We need to take our stories into the streets. Invite more people. Let us create a festival of hope. The suggestion echoed like a bell, filling Thomas with a surge of inspiration. Yes, we shall have a festival. Together we can extend our circle of unity, allow others to join in, to share and be healed through shared stories. Excitement unfolded among the group. They gathered around, fanning out their ideas like wings. Plans swirled, laughter bubbled, as the very air vibrated with hope. Yet, the concern kept nudging at Thomas. What if their message was met with skepticism? He caught himself wondering if even one naysayer could deter their purpose. That as he pondered this, a voice broke through the clouds of uncertainty. Remember, Thomas, one of his companions reminded, we are not alone. God stands with us. This path may be daunting, but every step is illuminated by his light. Nodding, Thomas felt a flicker of warmth in his soul. Together, they were creating something beautiful, something that reflected God's love. They would shine brightly, inviting others to join them on this faithful journey. As the sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows through the village, Thomas's heart swelled. He sensed that something wondrous was emerging from their gathering. A whispered promise seemed to linger, reminding him about divine appointments yet to come. Tomorrow would bring new opportunities, challenges, and blessings alike. Would they have the courage to step out even further? Would their village embrace the light they sought to share? With a heart full of questions, Thomas gazed towards the horizon. What miracles awaited beyond? The morning light streamed through the leaves of the old oak tree, casting playful shadows on the ground as Thomas and his friends prepared for their festival of hope. The air buzzed with energy, the kind of energy birthed from hope and a sense of purpose. As they gathered once more beneath the familiar branches, Thomas sensed something deep and powerful stirring within him. Today feels different, he announced, the anticipation lacing his voice. We're on the brink of something wonderful. Nods of agreement rippled through the group. They were indeed on the brink of something they could barely define. They began discussing plans in earnest. Each voice added color to the vision: stories, music, laughter, and unity. They envisioned decorations that would transform the village square into a radiant reflection of their faith. Let us not forget to invite everyone, suggested the elderly woman from yesterday. Those who have been lost, those who carry burdens heavier than our own. We must extend our arms in love. Thomas felt his heart flutter. Yes, that was it. Their message was for everyone, especially those who felt alone in the shadows. As they recorded names and ideas, an unease surfaced in Thomas's spirit once again. What if they reached out and were met with indifference or skepticism? What if they don't understand us? He voiced, the fear spilling over. Faith isn't about having all the answers. Another friend chimed in gently. It's about sharing what you have, even in your uncertainty. A wave of calm washed over Thomas. These words settled into his heart like a soothing balm. The sun climbed higher, pouring warmth into their gathering. Laughter echoed. Plans sparkled in the brightening air. They settled on a date, the second Saturday of the month, when the village would transform into a sanctuary of stories. Let us pray again, Thomas suggested, feeling the weight of their mission resting heavy upon him. They formed a circle once more, hands clasped tightly, as he led them in prayer, asking for wisdom to guide their preparations and the courage to step into the unknown. When they opened their eyes, there was a shift, a collective resolve that seemed to sing through them. "What's next?" asked the child. Thomas turned to her, sensing a deep truth behind her innocent curiosity. "Next, we share our stories with those who need them most. We take our hearts into the streets. We'll reach out to our neighbors, knock on doors, and invite each one to share in this celebration." The suggestion stirred something vibrant. "What about those who are struggling?" someone asked. "Yes," Thomas exclaimed, enthusiasm bubbling forth. "We'll bring encouragement and hope to every corner, every heart. A festival isn't just a celebration. It's an invitation for healing." As they dispersed to carry out their new mission, Thomas watched them scatter like fallen leaves caught in a delightful breeze. Joy warmed him as he pondered the possibilities unfolding. Would they really reach the hearts that needed their stories? That evening, as he returned home, the village glowed. Flickering lights danced in windows, and laughter played on the air. Yet, within Thomas, a whisper grew, daring him to step beyond mere thoughts. What if this festival was a turning point, not just for the village but for his own faith? With each step, Thomas could feel the pulse of the community around him, their burdens, their joys all intertwined. He knew they were standing on the edge of something transformative. And as the stars began to twinkle above the horizon, the question lingered in his heart. Could this festival truly open the way for goddess wonders? What would happen when they all stepped out in faith? Tomorrow held the promise of revelations yet to be seen. The day of the festival dawned bright and clear, as if the heavens themselves were celebrating this sacred gathering. Thomas stood at the heart of the village square, his heart racing with anticipation. Colorful banners fluttered in the gentle breeze, laughter and music floated through the air, and the scent of baked goods mingled with fresh flowers as villagers began to arrive. Thomas felt joy spark within him. People exchanged warm greetings, embracing one another, weaving a tapestry of love and connection in the community. Their stories, once nestled in quiet corners, began to unfold into the open. "Let us gather, everyone, and begin our festival with a prayer," he declared, feeling a wave of responsibility wash over him. The villagers formed a circle, clasping hands and bowing their heads. Thomas breathed deeply and offered a heartfelt prayer, asking for unity and the presence of God to guide their hearts. When they opened their eyes, a collective warmth enveloped them. Thomas felt it pulse like a heartbeat. "Today, let us intertwine our joys and sorrows. Each story shared holds the power to heal the heart," he said, his voice steady and confident. Murmurs of acknowledgement rippled through the crowd as the first storyteller stepped forward. An elderly man stood tall, his lined face a map of wisdom. He shared his tale of resilience, the loss of a beloved pet that changed his perspective on love and life. As he spoke, nods and tears spread through the congregation, hearts resonating with the echoes of shared experience. One by one, stories flowed like streams of light. They spoke of loneliness, loss, but also of hope, redemption, and divine encounters. Thomas marveled as a young mother shared about her trials in raising her children while feeling isolated, yet how she found grace in unexpected friendships. "Faith is a journey, sometimes through the valleys, but never without the light," she said, her voice wrapping the crowd in quiet reverence. It dawned on Thomas that each story was a thread in a magnificent tapestry of faith. When the sun began to dip lower, casting a golden hue over them, Thomas knew it was his turn. He stepped forward, heart swelling, and the village fell silent, expectant. "My friends, in searching for solitude, I discovered that it could be both a personal retreat and a communal embrace. Solitude allows us to hear the whispers of God, while togetherness amplifies that divine message." His words flowed freely, a mixture of gratitude and humility. He recounted how the divine stillness had transformed him and how that same grace was touching everyone present. As his voice rose in passion, he noted the eyes around him glisten with tears, smiles growing brighter. In that sacred moment, Thomas felt unseen weight lifted from the villagers' hearts. It felt as if they were collectively breathing in hope, exhaling burdens. The golden light of unity shimmered around them, illuminating possibilities once clouded by doubt. Finally, Thomas invited everyone to join in prayer, hands clasped, hearts open. "Lord," he began, "let this festival be a vessel of hope, healing those who feel lost or alone. May our lives reflect your love, our stories become beacons of faith." As prayer enveloped them, a hush fell across the square, thick with divine presence. Then it happened. A radiant light broke through the darkening sky, casting a warm glow that shimmered across the villagers. As the awe settled around them, Thomas felt the pulse of goddess confirmation within him. At that moment, the veil between solitude and community dissolved in a glorious revelation. He wasn't merely guiding them. Together, they were writing a new chapter of faith. When the prayer concluded, a chorus of amen rose like incense, blending into the evening air. Laughter erupted as children ran through the square, their innocence reflecting goddess joy. Thomas watched in gratitude as villagers reached out to those who had hesitated to join, inviting them into the light. As the night deepened, bonds were formed and rekindled. The festival unfolded into a celebration of faith, and as the stars emerged, twinkling above, Thomas realized that the journey had come full circle. The miraculous sacred path he once traveled alone now shimmered brightly, guiding others toward divine truth. As he gazed into the faces around him, each reflecting renewed hope, he understood this was not the end. It was merely the beginning. A new chapter etched in their hearts, singing with divine love. Now, dear friends, it's your turn to join this journey of faith. You need to subscribe now to our channel so you don't miss our next exclusive stories filled with divine inspiration. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and share this movement of hope and light. Comment below with your reactions and testimonies about the power of faith you just experienced. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. Together, let us light the way for others.